Hello and welcome everyone again to another video. And in today's video, just as you read there, just as why you clicked on this video, because you want to know the top teams in the Open Ultra League. My name is Yasir Ali. I'm a Twitch streamer. I stream on Twitch Monday, Friday, and during the weekend. So make sure to give me a follow. I believe in my live stream in the description below. So Open Ultra League. What's Open Ultra League? It's basically the league that's dominated by legendaries and XL Pokemon. Stuff like non-legendary or non-XL cannot compete there. But there are three actually that are non-legendary, that are non-XL, that can still fight with those crazy bulky Pokemons. What are those? No. I'm not gonna give you that answer pretty like early in the video, because we made this video for the people who ask for a team around the stuff that they do have. So we're gonna start by the best teams, then like straight till the end where we can mention some budget teams. The main dominant for legendaries in this league used to be, remember, okay, don't call me out like, oh, I don't see this. Used to be Giratina, Tapu Fini, Cobalion, and Registeel. Without further ado, let's just go and talk about these Pokemons, and I divide them as always into good lead, good safe swap, generalist, or good everywhere. A good lead is a Pokemon that has a decent fast move pressure and a cheap charge move, where you will force the opponent to shield the bait, just because if they don't shield the bait, they will get fast move down. A big example about that is Pidgeot or Alolan Sandslash. Machamp as an answer, but Machamp doesn't necessarily mean Machamp is good, but just shows why some people sometimes shield a bad move like Job, because the fast move does so much pressure to the point where, like, if you don't shield that, you're gonna end up getting fast move down. Alolan Ninetale with a charm. If you don't shield a Wither Ball and some of the stuff that aren't steel Pokemon, you might get charmed down. Ampharos, which is my recent favorite Pokemon to use in this cup, honestly. I've been like, I used to use Ampharos. In fact, the first video in Ultra League that was popular, my first team that ever became popular, was back in season 4. And it used to be a team that's combined from Ampharos, Gallade, and Venusaur, and you can see the video. You can find the video somewhere in King's IV's channel. The video became the team became like the top-rated team in the Ultra League Premier. But Ampharos wasn't as good in the Open Ultra League. But they last season or the season before, they gave it a Brutal Swing, which is a dark move that you can hit Cresselia back with a super effective charm move or a Giratina. To the point where, like, if you have a good IV enough, Ampharos can actually beat Giratina in the zero. You need the Shadow, okay? Don't use non-Shadow. Non-Shadow, Ampharos sucks. Unless like it's some Z's Wireless or something, because I think when I checked, like, the non-Shadow is good against some dominant matchups like Charizard, where like you can tank a move plus get Charizard pretty low, against the Walrein, where you can actually do some decent damage. You don't need to shield the EQ because you're gonna get them low enough regardless whether you shield or no. But the Shadow is decent enough in bad matchups. Shadow makes bad matchups slightly better and make dominant matchup still winnable. Like, someone told me once, like, why would you rather destroy a matchup you already win? Like, destroy something you already beat. Like, doesn't matter. A win with 1 HP or with 3 ball flicks is the same. You're gonna get the same amount of MMR. So that's why Shadow Ampharos is better as a Shadow. Same for A-Slash. Why A-Slash is better as Shadow? Because this Pokemon has hard weaknesses to fire and counter, but also beat some stuff. But if you use the Shadow, you can do more damage to stuff that beats you. So that's the point of using the Shadow. Trevenant isn't as good, but there is some niche use for this Pokemon, because the steals in this cup actually lose to Trevenant. The steals, which I will be talking about in a couple seconds. Talonflame, not as popular as it used to be, just because Charizard gets a wing attack buff, and Charizard now is just too freaking good of a Pokemon. It's literally everywhere. Obstagoon, I feel like Obstagoon is dead. because Tapu Finis are everywhere. Skunk beats Obstagoon, like even though Obstagoon's supposed to win, just because all of Obstagoon moves are low-key either non-stab or bad moves. Scrafty destroys Obstagoon, A9 destroys Obstagoon. Obstagoon against Pidgeot is not a bad matchup for either. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the good list. The good safe swap. Safe swaps are Pokemon are generally like can do damage to everything. And those Pokemons usually do not beat at that many Pokemons, but they beat their own counters with some shield scenario or with some extra fast moves. And the best safe swap in this league is Jellicent. If you're playing Ultra League the last 2 seasons, if you watch my video the last 2 seasons, in every team I have a Jellicent. Why do I have a Jellicent or a Tapu Fini? Because those 2 Pokemons generally can do decent against the condensed Ultra League meta. Snorlax is like, I call him Snorlax, not poor man's Jellicent. Snorlax has a niche spot where like it's a better in some sort of ABB teams where you are required to bait out the fighters or the counter users in general. By the fighters I mean Cobalion and Berisian. Counter users are like stuff like Escav. Mandibuzz, the only reason Mandibuzz is here, I think Mandibuzz has a better spot in the meta due to the buff to Aerial Ace now. It's no longer a bad move. Walrein is there, and it's in the middle of the safe swap. I think the best safe swap is Jellicent, and the second best safe swap could be Drapion. The problem with Drapion used to be the best safe swap for like 5 consecutive seasons, and then they gave Cobalion double kick, and Cobalion just destroys everything about this Pokemon. So if you see Cobalion, Drapion is bad. If you don't see Cobalion, Drapion is great. Keep that in mind. Why? Because you destroy stuff like Tapu Fini, where like, and you can beat a Charizard if you're an Aqua Tail, and you're just pretty fast to get to a charge move. Like sometimes if you're an Aqua Tail, it's like 4 to a charge move or something. It's 5-4 I think, or 4. And 2 crunches from the Shadow Drapion pretty much KO everything when they are neutral. Umbreon, it's a good safe swap. People don't use because it's just so slow. While Mandibuzz can have some sort of fast move pressure with Air Slash. But people prefer Mandibuzz over Umbreon just for the Swampert matchup. The Swampert against Umbreon is so scuffed. Where like Mandibuzz is slightly better because you double resist Mudshot. And yes, Mudshot doesn't do that much damage, but it adds up like eventually. The Generals are like the Pokemons that are good everywhere. That are Pokemon that they will always be good no matter what happens. The best example about that, Giratina, Cresselia, and Registeel, and Swampert. Those 4 Pokemons has been the main meta in the Open Ultra League since Season 1. I think Cresselia became meta in like Season 2 when they buffed Moonblast, where like they gave it Grass Knot and they buffed Moonblast, where they made it like 5 energy cheaper for like, and they gave it a chance to debuff. That season was a nightmare. I don't remember having a good memory about that season, where I used to just get perma debuffed by Cresselia. Where like a Cresselia would beat a Scab straight Moonblast, they just double shield and they keep debuffing you, then you start doing no damage. That was a nightmare. That season was actually the worst in my GBL career. Charizard, as a Shadow, it's probably like the hardest hitting Pokemon in the Open Ultra League, and the Shadow Charizard is just too good. Give Charizard shield advantage or energy advantage and it will beat everything. Charizard, like with 2 wing attack, can beat Jellicent and the Zero, by the way. Tapu Fini matchup, if the Tapu Fini is bad IV, 2 Blast Burn plus wing attack can put it like pretty low. With like, if you are up a shield, you can win that matchup. Steelix, which is a recently buffed Pokemon, they gave it, like every season they keep buffing Steelix to the point where now Steelix has all the good moves, has Breaking Swipe, Dragon Tail, EQ, Poison Fang, sorry, not Poison Fang, Psychic Fang. And if we look at the main rank on PvPoke, it says that Registeel is number 1, Steelix is number 2. Who's number 3? Something that's a steal with Stone. I think that's Kubalian. Kubalian is basically in the top 3 because Kubalian just beat the other two. Cresselia is number 4 because it has a play against the Steelix and can beat Kubalian. Regirock is there. Why Regirock is there? I think because Regirock can beat Steelix. Zygarde is basically a better version of Garchomp, and I assume nobody has it, but hope I don't know. Maybe someone out there has a Zygarde complete form. It's actually extremely decent, and it's probably the best dragon, but the problem is that nobody has it. Registeel, Shadow, Giratina, Altered, Regirock, Shadow, Virizion. And okay, something to mention about Virizion, Tapu Fini, and the Gliscor. Those 3 Pokemons are generally the best core breakers. What does a core breaker mean? You know, like how there is always a Giratina with a Swampert, how there is always a Giratina with Ampharos, how there is always Registeel will have some sort of a dragon to beat the Swampert. That's what we call it a core, a combination of 2 Pokemons that cover each other as well. So Gliscor, Tapu Fini, or Virizion can break any core in the game. Where like they beat, like as an example, what's the most popular core will be? Cresselia, Registeel. What beats those 2? Gliscor. What if people are using Swampert, Kubalian? The best core breaker to this will be Virizion. People used to use like just that's like the sort of core breaker, like the metaphor mean. Some anti-meta Pokemons you could use. Some honorable mention here to Double, since everyone's supposed to have it. Everyone who grind hard supposed to have it. Skunk, which is a Pokemon I've been using a lot. If you follow the channel, you would know how much I love using this. I love to use this. And a Pokemon that deserves a shout out here is Greedent. Now, since it has access to Mudshot, I've seen it beating Steelix straight Crunch. And just hopefully, if you are playing this matchup, you always get the Crunch debuff, because I hate Steelix so much. I feel like Steelix is just another Bastiodon. Deoxys defense has some niche use. I think the only one who successfully was able to use it is basically Home Slice Henry. Other than that, I don't think anything here that deserves like a big shout out, like Mudshot Greedent or like Skunk. By the way, Skunk now has a grass move, so you can actually destroy the Tapu Finis. I mean, you don't need a grass move to beat Tapu Fini, but you need grass move to destroy the Tapu Fini. So yeah, we talked about the top Pokemons. Let's just talk about the top teams. And if you go to PvPoke and you choose the best Pokemon, which is Registeel, and you want to build a team around, PvPoke will suggest Cresselia. And PvPoke will also suggest the Steelix as a third. So this is an ABB team that is combined of double weak to Swampert / fighters in the back, with something in the lead that destroys the Swampert and the fighters. A core breaker to this team would be Shadow Swampert, but the thing is, if Cresselia has Grass Knot, Cresselia just won that matchup. The best team last season was basically different. We were like, didn't see that many bulky Pokemons. The best performing team last season, last Ultra League rotation, was basically Shadow A/ with Tapu Fini and Cresselia. Not Cresselia, sorry, Jellicent. This is some sort of an ABB team with, like, it's not ABBT, but it's like you are weak to fire and fighters in the lead, and you have 2 waters / resist fire fighting in the back. So if you see a Kubalian in the lead, you just swap to one of those stuff that beat Kubalian. Same as if they lead a fire. Well, fire is Charizard, and Charizard has like a flying fast move. So it's not that bad of a matchup. Obstagoon is actually horrible for this team. Moving into another team that's combined of 2 legendaries and a bulky Pokemon. Very XL Pokemon. Virizion. With Virizion, you always see a Giratina as a safe swap. Some people run Jellicent as a cover. I do run Jellicent as a cover to this, because I don't like, because every time I run this core, I see an A9 in the lead. So that's why I prefer Jellicent more than Giratina. So you could use, in this team, you could use Jellicent as well as an option instead of the Giratina. But if you don't see A9, which I haven't seen last season, I think Giratina performs better. Why? Because Giratina has always been the best Pokemon in this cup. Moving into another team, I call it my favorite. I like this team a lot. It's not doesn't rely on bulk. Well, there is 3 bulky stuff. Well, comparing to Ultra League, those do not look as bulky. Those just 2 spammy Pokemons and something in the back to cover their weaknesses. Because here and here, not the greatest against the Flyers, while here beat all the Flyers in the Ultra League, which are like Charizard and Gliscor. Because Pidgeot, thank God, is dead, and it's just no longer as good. A team that I used to use a lot, but you guys never seen me using this team, because in fact I used to use it in faction and self format, because in self format when it was open Ultra League, those 3 were like the main 3 in every team. Every team would run Registeel, Gliscor, and Tapu Fini. Why? Because whatever, Gliscor is the only Pokemon that can destroy Registeel regardless of Registeel's moveset, because Gliscor can live 2 Flash Cannons if they run Flash Cannon, can live easy like 2 Zap Cannons, can live 2 Focus Blasts, while Registeel is able to only tank 1 EQ from Gliscor. And Tapu Fini to destroy the Gliscor, and Gliscor can have a play, by the way, against Tapu Fini. With like, if a Gliscor is able to land the EQ on the Tapu Fini, Gliscor is able to win that matchup. So we talked about some decent legendary teams. What about non-legendary budget team? The best budget team in this cup is this team. This team was actually so popular with like people with legendary stuff would be running this team. Charizard with Walrein and Swampert. 3 community day Pokemons. In fact, 3 that had more than 1 community day. We had so many community days for the Charizard, so many community days for the Swampert, 2 community days so far for Walrein, and the next one is happening soon. I think I myself struggled against this team until like I was able to find some sort of a play against it, but it's a decent team. It's the best budget team, the best non-legendary team. So these are the teams I expect to be meta, but now let's move to talk about some teams from previous seasons. And the best team to talk about is the Memes team, which the team I milked the most for content. I yoinked this team from Meme. He hit like top 10 in the leaderboard like multiple times during the Ultra League, and he was running Shadow Registeel, Shadow Dragonite with Jellicent to soak up the energy as a cover to Dragonite. Shadow Skunk in the back. There's been multiple videos on this about this team in this channel. You can try number 1. I hit legend with this team. Pokemon Go PvP. I hit legend with this team. Yeah, that's a nice title to find. You can also check the other one. Memi hit 31 MMR with this double Shadow team. I use non-Shadow Skunk. He used Shadow Skunk. If you want the difference between Shadow Skunk, and if you want to know the differences between Shadow Skunk and non-Shadow Skunk, there is a video on the channel. You can go and check it out. The name of the video is Shadow Skunk, but it says non-Shadow Skunk. But the team I started using at the end of the Ultra League, last Ultra League rotation, is this double legendaries team with Shadow Ampharos in the lead. Why Shadow Ampharos? Well, Shadow Ampharos just wins all the leads. Every lead was either Giratina, Cresselia, Tapu Fini, Pidgeot, Charizard, stuff like that. The only lead that Ampharos lose is basically one lead, which is Swampert, and we have 2 answers to the Swampert. So that was the only one. Okay. So do you see this team? There's a different form of this team. We're using Shadow Skunk. There's also another form of this team where you use, instead of the Jellicent, you use Registeel. With this team, it's just less dependent on skills, because Registeel, you don't need skills. You just spam Zap Cannon against everything. If you hate Steelix, like me, this is a team I recommend, again, for those who are gonna go on hunting to hunt down those Steelix, or those people who are gonna use Steelix in the Ultra League to ruin your game. So just try to ruin their game and use this team. Gliscor destroys Steelix. Jellicent has a decent play against the Steelix, because the Steelix won't have crunch this rotation. Since it has breaking swipe, people will be running EQ with it. So make sure to use these. At least use Cobalion as well. Cobalion destroys Steelix, although Steelix can hit with super effective charge move like EQ, but the problem is if they decide to bait, They won't make it because you will be making so many charge moves. A solid team from previous season, from the one and the only A-Mind Joke. Known for being an A/Andy. He loves A/. A/ is his favorite Pokemon. You can see it even in his on his profile picture. You can check his live stream at twitch.tv/A-Mind-Joke. He was running a triple Shadow Claw team. It's actually insane because this team just I think it runs Dragon Breath Giratina. Sorry. So this team is just tough to beat the Tapu Fini. So whenever like okay. Not that last season, the season before. Whenever I see an A/, I just assume it's A-Mind Joke, and I instantly swap to Tapu Fini because I know that they don't have an answer and they have to go down a shield. So I used to benefit from them going down a shield to win. But yeah, he had actually #1 like once, and he hit top 5 like multiple times using Giratina A/. He switched, his third was actually Charizard, and he switched it to Gliscopod last season. His Gliscopod now is actually very decent of a Pokemon. Another Dragonite team, if you guys like Shadow Dragonite like me, you can use Shadow Dragonite with Tentacruel and Ampharos. The problem with this team is that all of these 3 Pokemons now lose to Steelix, so it's tough to use this Pokemon. Do not lead Pidgeot. I don't think people will be leading Pidgeot. The problem is people will be leading Gliscor. So if you hate the Gliscor, you can do this. If you don't want to be weak to Gliscor, just lead Charizard. Because Charizard can beat the Gliscor. And usually Gliscor have double steal in the back, or at least 1 steal. And that's where like Ampharos is going to shine and destroy those steel Pokemons. One of the teams that is actually decent to use in the Ultra League is triple legendaries, and those 3 legendaries you can use Cresselia, Giratina, Registeel, or you can use Tapu Fini, Giratina, Registeel. And last team, check Home/Henry YouTube. He made a video about this team. I wanted to talk about this team because I want to talk about Shadow Snorlax, which is probably the 4th best non-XL, non-legendary Pokemon, because the best 3 are Swampert, Walrein, and Deoxys Defense. Now it comes after, no, not Deoxys Defense, Charizard, Swampert, Walrein comes after them right away. Snorlax, it's a decent Pokemon, has a play against everything and a variety of charge moves where you can have coverage based on whatever you want. Even though I like EQ Body Slam in Ultra League, I have a video about it. I think Matt Magic used this team to hit Legend, so you can find that video in the channel. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. Oh wait, there's more teams, bro. I want to end the video. I'm so tired of work. Yeah, I had a very long day at work, and then I had to go and get some grocery, and then like go do something else, and then I came back and I'm like, okay, I want to go sleep. I'm like, oh wait, I have to post the video as soon as possible. Okay, hopefully people will appreciate the video and we get like some likes in the video, and people who aren't subbed will subscribe. These are some nice teams from previous seasons. They aren't necessarily as great, but hopefully they will give you some ideas. So people have maybe some ideas to rank Coffin they forgot, and this slide will will remind them to use Jellicent or Registeel or like Komo-O. Yeah, this is the old A-Mind Joke team, or Gliscor, and yeah. Okay, now we're done. Thank you so much everyone for watching. This is the end of the video. If you like this type of content, please make sure to leave a like on the channel, make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Peace.